and just how Ahan had also started off with Dub Smash videos. I had also done
Right,
that.
right.
Those 2-3 chemistry workshops which happened, between me and Aneet. Those happened for this only, so that we have that sort of closeness.
Right.
That it actually shows that they've dated for like 4-5 years in the
Right.
past. Like everybody, when they were watching Sayyara's promotional assets, like the trailer,
Yeah.
teaser songs, they were like Ashiki 2. They're like, nahi, 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 Murder 3. I spoke with some girls, friends of my life,
Right.
who told me that they've had a very similar situation. They've had a Mahesh in their life. I was like, यार क्यों मेरे साथ हो रहा है? अगर मेरा totality में character होता तो
Correct.
मेरा भी फायदा हो जाता, and people would have seen me in a better light. मैंने
हाँ.
मर्दानी के लिए भी दिया था, 2 के लिए, 1 तो बहुत
Okay.
पहले थी.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2 के लिए Vishal Jetwa's part, I did audition, but she
Lovely.
told me, sorry, you're too urban. Hi, I'm Shan R. Grover, and you're watching me only on India Forums.
Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another update from India Forums.
Hi everyone and welcome to India Forums. This is Kunal Kothari और वैसे तो सैयारा के जितनी पॉसिबल बातें हैं अब तक आपने सुन ली है, लेकिन अब यार हम ऑलरेडी ऑफ स्क्रीन तो बहुत सारी इस बारे में ऑलरेडी बात कर रहे थे शुरू होने से पहले, लेकिन एक बैड गाय होना मेरे हिसाब से आजकल सबसे ज्यूसी बात होती है एक एक्टर के लिए. और हाउ कैन इट बी बेटर, इट जस्ट कैन नॉट गेट बेटर कि आप ऐसी फिल्म के बैड गाय है जो कि यशराज ने प्रोड्यूस की है और जिसकी ओपनिंग कलेक्शन तो आप ऑलरेडी सुनी चुकी और सोच रहे हैं कैसे. We are here with none other than Shan Grover. Hi Shan.
Thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to be sitting across Mr. Kunal, and I'm already having a lovely chat with him.
Yeah.
And it will only get better as we move forward.
Absolutely,
so, Thank you for the
absolutely.
introduction, by the way.
No, yeah.
Made me feel a lot better being a bad guy of a Vaira film.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is a thing. Trust me when I say to be portrayed as a bad guy. So honestly, that's also a good rarity. I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because these days, more often than not, actors and filmmakers go into the territory कि grey रखते हैं.
Grey रखते हैं.
है ना? या तो black and white जैसे कुछ नहीं होता. But here you see, he's cruel.
Yeah.
There is no necessary of backstory. You just know that he is like this selfish, guy. And of course, now it's pretty obvious you've seen the film by now, but you're obviously talking about the character of Mahesh Iyer.
He is bad.
He's bad. He's
Yeah.
just straight up bad.
Yeah.
So tell me one thing, how, like, as an actor, how difficult or how easy it is to, get into that backstory, because you don't really have a backstory etched out for the viewers to see.
Yeah.
कि भाई अगर ये इतना selfish है तो क्यों इतना selfish है?
Hmm.
Are those factors that come to you as well?
It's crazy because I have so many things running in my head as an answer to this. But I'll start from the beginning. That as an actor, I'll be very honest, but people might feel that I'm being very pompous or I'm boasting my skills. It doesn't take me a lot of effort or, sort of like a method acting thing for me to get into any character. So I just play my part knowing that because I understand the script really well. So if somebody does that, then it's easier for them. But as a human being, how you must have also noticed when I was talking to you, I feel very afraid of doing such parts. So understanding the psyche of them gets a little difficult for me. So getting into the head of the character gets difficult for me as an actor. But when I read the part, what all I'll do as an actor, like my notions, my nuances, my hand movements, my body language, my voice, that I'm good with because that I'm a trained actor. So I know how to modulate and move around that. But to get into the psyche of that character, it plays a very tough part. And for the longest time when I was doing the film, it took me, it was very challenging. But then you won't believe it, some months ago, it really helped me. And I thought I'll tell you this off camera also.
Yeah.
I spoke with some girls, friends of my life, who told me that they've had a very similar situation. They've had a Mahesh in their life.
Oh.
Now call me naive, call me gullible, but I always thought कि ऐसे नहीं होते लोग because मैं ऐसा नहीं हूँ.
Right.
But when I spoke with, I so want to name them, but I can't. These girls that I'm talking about.
Correct.
Like two names instantly pop up in my hand and they told me that very similar thing happened.
Wow.
1-2 साल से उनको वो शादी का फांसा दे रहे थे और 7-8 years का relationship यार. That everybody thought they'll get married and now they are like 29-30 maybe. And they're like कि हम और कितना wait करें? And then not even a call, not even a message, कुछ नहीं बस सीधा कि यार I can't. And literally what a Mahesh did, something like that happened in their life. And then I realized, okay. So maybe there are people like Mahesh. Mohit sir has written a character which is quite relatable. Correct. And those girls, and yesterday I spoke with one of them at night.
Okay.
12:30 I spoke with that friend of mine after like 3 months or whatever. And she told me I was just crying. I was just crying throughout the film.
Of course.
I spoke with her for half an hour last night. And I felt so happy कि यार चलो ठीक है यार किसी का तो दिल छुआ है चाहे बुरा काम करके भी she's got that solace कि अच्छा हाँ यार shit now I'll also find some Christian now she is dating somebody
that is lovely.
so it's so meta but yeah good things do happen I mean
Fab,
So,
yeah.
so getting into the psyche of the character is tough, but people like that do exist, so it got easier for me to actually get into that. कि ठीक है,
Perfect.
चलो ऐसे लोग होते हैं दुनिया में, I can also play one of them. It's okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Fabulous. And you know, from what also we were already having a lovely chat before the camera started rolling,
Yeah.
and it just give that is, you know, another factor I keep thinking about when I talk to actors in general. That the idea of what all you shot and what all is presented is obviously vastly different.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have shot maybe like 10 scenes and barely 5 might be able to make it to the big screen, and that sometimes surprises, but obviously it's all the call of the editor, director, and everything. In your case also that happened, right? In with Sayyara,
A
that
little
you
bit, yeah.
yeah, there were scenes that you obviously shot, maybe they weren't really fitting into the, you know, edit of it
The
or
narrative,
anything.
हाँ.
But how much do you get affected by it?
Yeah, initially I did get very affected because there was a little bit of chopping. But now when I see the final output, the way they've actually portrayed and magnified even the smaller screen time that I have, I'm okay with it, yeah, as long as it helps me out. But yeah, I can't deny, because I'm an honest guy. When initially I found out during the dubbing, and then as the process went by, I was like, यार क्यों मेरे साथ हो रहा है? You know, अगर मेरा
Yeah.
totality में character होता तो you know
Correct.
मेरा भी फायदा हो जाता, and people would have seen me in a better light. But who am I to judge? Like
Of
I
course.
say, there are so many bigger people who are behind the monitor, working day in day out. So if they've taken that call, seeing the bigger picture in totality, then yeah, I would have to trust my God and trust my destiny. So,
Yeah. Super. And you know, I think everyone, आप small town से belong करते हो या आप मुंबई में ही रहते हो, you know, कहीं से भी, सबके लिए I think the ultimate goal or to ultimate in general वो सोचते हैं कि लाइफ में अगर मुझे एक्टर बनना है तो मैं यशराज की फिल्म में आऊंगा, यशराज
Yeah.
के बैनर पे, या तो धर्मा, you know, there
Dharma
are those
Vairaf.
2-3 key banners.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest question mark there
Now Maddox
arises.
also, by the way.
Now Maddox also. Of
I
course,
have
of
my eyes
course.
on Maddox.
You have. We are manifesting already.
Yeah.
We are already manifesting for that to happen.
Yeah.
But you know, my question is that it is the toughest thing, right? And this is, you know, more like I wouldn't say motivation, but there are so many actors out there जो यशराज के गेट तक भी नहीं पहुंच पाते,
Yeah.
कि वो गेट तक भी पहुंचेंगे तो उनको नहीं पता कि वो अंदर जा पाएंगे कि
Yeah.
नहीं, गए तो वो 1000 लोगों में से शॉर्टलिस्ट हो पाएंगे कि नहीं.
True.
How did it happen with you? I not in the sense of, you know, from the germ of it,
Hmm.
but how unreal was it, and how, you know, just it just happened to you?
So actually, this actually started, like the origin was in 2016, somewhere around that time. I was just finishing my college. I was in my third year, and around that time, I somehow stumbled upon Shanu Sharma ma'am,
Right.
who became my mentor of sorts and started guiding me. Thanks to Kavish Sinha, again, I always mention him. Another one of my most favorite human beings and a big casting director now.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I stumbled upon Kavish Sinha. Kavish Sinha made me meet Shanu ma'am, and just how Ahan had also started off with Dub Smash videos. I had also done that.
Right.
I never did TikTok, but Dub Smash was cool.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
remember,
yeah.
Dub Smash was something.
I was in Dub Smash.
Exactly.
Yeah,
High five, man. So I did Dub Smash videos, not knowing that whether it will take me somewhere or
Of
no,
course.
just as a film fanatic.
Yeah.
She saw those videos and she said, "Dude, there's something in you. I would want to explore, and what if?" And she's always on the lookout for new
Yeah,
actors.
that's true.
So I was one of those very few rare actors from the outside who she actually wanted to train, mentor, and that's what happened. I gave a year of my time to her, and then she told me that I will do something with you one day for sure. And I thought, okay, देखते हैं कल क्या होगा,
Yeah,
किसने
of
देखा
course.
है. But yeah, so many years later, but she always auditioned me. मैंने
हाँ.
मर्दानी के लिए भी दिया था, 2 के लिए, 1 तो बहुत
Okay.
पहले थी.
Yeah.
2 के लिए विशाल जेठ was part. I did audition, but she
Lovely.
told me, sorry, yeah, you're too urban. I was like, मैं क्या करूं मतलब. but अब आया ना
Of course.
urban villain.
Urban काम आ गया.
I mean, as an actor, she said, yes, you can pull it off. You know, I
Yeah.
can do a Bihari accent, I can do a UP accent, which I did in 10 June Ki Raat also.
Correct.
But still, they were looking too थोड़ा authentic
Yeah,
जाना
that
चाहते थे.
rootedness वो थोड़ा ज्यादा वो लोग
हाँ, कि
चाहते
मतलब
थे.
तेरे पे मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, कोई जिस पे मेहनत ही ना करनी पड़े.
Correct,
You know, बिल्कुल. And I have no qualms in saying that कि हाँ थोड़ा देसी नहीं लगता मैं, you know, whatever. So that didn't work out, but story ये थी कि यार she's always believed in me, she's always pushed me for different parts and whatever Vairav could make. And then this one came along. I gave a Fab audition. My first round was Fab. I still remember she called me up in the night, somewhere around 11 o'clock. I thought फट गई. मेरे को लग रहा था मैंने अच्छा नहीं दिया.
Right.
Because again, if I ये मैंने किसी इंटरव्यू में अभी तक शेयर नहीं किया है, because I'm in a good mood. So my first audition, despite the brief was that it has to be a little maniac,
Mm-hmm.
maniacal,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like a psychotic,
Of course.
thoda sa dar ka vibe Shahrukh ka, because negative character hai.
Correct.
I did it in a very romantic way. I was like, मैं तो हीरो हूँ पिक्चर का, मैं तो उसको बिल्कुल वैसी रोमांस वे में लूंगा
Okay.
कि तू मुझे मिस नहीं करती, मुझे याद नहीं करती, मुझसे गलती हो गई, सॉरी यार, you know, in a very genuine
Right. Of
way.
course.
And that's what I thought has backfired. But she
Right.
called me at 11 and she's like, what have you done? This is outstanding. You know,
Fab.
so that worked for me. She's like, I can see romance in your eyes, but that's the beauty of it. That
Yeah,
we'll,
exactly.
We'll play with it. That the audiences will feel कि actually मैं romantic है, बंदा लेकिन नहीं है.
नहीं है.
If you see the second half also, he's always just looking at her.
Exactly.
And maybe the audiences are thinking he still loves her, but no, actually he doesn't. He just wants her back for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave 3 sets of auditions, and Mohit Suri sir, Shanu ma'am, they all loved the way I did it, the way I approached the scene, which was very romantical, and which is why I'm a little scared also that I want to play romantic parts
Right.
as well in the future, because
Right.
that's my forte. You know, I can't do negative parts because I gave another negative audition also. I don't know if I can mention another negative part for a big production house recently, and they said
Right.
कि तुम्हारी आंखों में negativity नहीं है. I was like, but मैंने अभी इतनी बड़ी picture की है.
थोड़ी देर
negative.
wait कर लो.
थोड़ी देर wait करो.
पता चल जाएगा.
But again, if you look at this also, I don't know, yaar. We might be just talking too much about it right now, but there's this sort of duality, you know.
No, it is.
He's not completely as negative as he has. But,
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a terrorist, or he's not like somebody who's blowing
Correct.
up. But yeah, she's always been supportive. I gave 3
Hmm.
rounds of audition. That's what was the answer. And yeah, she just supported me. Mohit Suri sir loved me. I had a fab meeting with him, and he was like, he instantly decided that let's take you up for the part. And then I had my
Awesome.
chemistry workshops with Aneet. And yeah, that's how it happened. Ahan I knew since a very long time. Like I
Right.
said, we all started in 2016. Ma'am was training him as well. Ma'am was training me. So we all were like the same batch of actors,
Correct.
but with a different destiny, of
Yeah.
course.
Super, yeah. And that is, but I trust. We were already, sort of discussing even before it started, that even though it is negative, like he's a vile man, he's a
Yeah.
vile, cruel man, but it's not negative in a way that it's just in your face. It's one of those instances कि okay, negative से ज़्यादा ये थोड़ा selfish ज़्यादा है, या सिर्फ खुद की सोच रहा है, as opposed to beating her up, which would have been easier to veer into that territory.
Yeah, absolutely.
The kind of character he would have easily just beat her up.
Yeah.
And it, because he is in that zone, because he's like, I'm owning you,
Yeah.
rather than just being.
You're
a
right.
factor.
That was the subtext in one of the
Right.
scenes. That now I'm such a big guy. I'm a billionaire. I've owned you.
I've owned you. Yeah.
Yeah. I've bought your company, so I might as well own you. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
So a brilliant point actually. More than being negative, this guy has a lot of bad traits, which they also told me.
Narcissism, immense narcissism.
Cocky, arrogant, narcissism. All those things that you can pull up in your head. So all those things were there, and that's what I played with. That's what I was saying. More than getting into the psyche of the character, I understood those traits really well,
Fair.
and then I played along with that. And then you can see those in my nuances.
Correct.
So yeah, like
Yeah. Because
what
I can go on keep talking about nuances. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, and when I talk with.
Are you an
actors.
actor yourself?
No, I'm not an actor. I'm a critic, so I think it's
अच्छा.
sort of.
But देख के इतना
देख
समझ
के
में आ
अपने
गया
आप
होगा.
एक वो
Yeah.
हो जाता है, because
No, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, those are the things that matter, honestly. It's never the loud cries, it's never the loud laughs, it's always the small things.
True.
Because as you mentioned here also, even what he's doing is obviously evil, he's not being evil in a way that okay कि वो अभी कुछ गलत करेगा in a way. You see it all in his eyes, you see it everywhere. But now that gets me to my next question, because you sort of already touched upon it, that you had workshops. You obviously have workshops. You did yours with Aneet, because obviously maximum scenes Aneet ke saath hai.
Exactly.
That's the story that we're talking about. Especially the scene, with spoilers ahead. Especially the scene, at the concert.
Yeah.
Backstage. That scene is difficult.
Yeah.
Difficult, especially for newcomers. I say not in your case,
Yeah.
but for Aneet's case, because you've
No,
been there
absolutely.
around.
Yeah.
You've been there around to understand how to veer around,
Yeah.
these things. But for Aneet, she's
True.
a first timer. I
Yeah.
mean, at least in a big film like that.
Second film after Salam Venki.
After
But
Salam
still I get
Venki.
your point.
Yeah, exactly. This is the launch.
अरे मेरी
as,
भी पहली हिंदी पिक्चर है. I've
हाँ.
only done some web shows and an
Yeah.
international film, Nobleman. That's
Nobleman,
also-
yeah, the Kunal
So technically
Kapoor one.
second film, but Hindi film पहली है ये, because
Yeah.
that was an English film. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
What I was
I'm also
getting,
fairly new.
Yeah. What I was getting at is that these are tough things to
Yeah.
crack. Of course, you have a fab director like Mohit Suri on set to
Yeah.
make sure everything is fine, right? But as we were talking about it, how do you crack those nuances that it never veers into the territory we don't want it to veer
True.
into?
Again, like you had only mentioned, those 2-3 chemistry workshops which happened, between me and Aneet, those happened for this only, so that we have that sort of closeness,
Right.
that it actually shows that they've dated for like 4-5 years in the
Right,
past.
right.
Whether they've shown it in the film now or no, like as we were talking, top secret. But the point is, we had to portray all those things while shooting, no? So it should not look like they've just met 2-3 months back.
Yeah.
They've dated for 5 years. If she is feeling that trauma, if she
Yeah.
is sort of going crazy in her head for this guy, it should show up. So hence those 2 to 3 workshops happen, where we actually I can't tell you what all happened
Of course.
in those
Yeah,
workshops,
yeah.
but it was just for us to get close, and that really happened. So when we came on set, when we had actually rehearsed our dialogues and learned them all, it just flowed, and she's a
Yeah.
fab actor.
She is.
Like I said, I don't know how people will take it, but she is somebody that when I was practicing with her, when I was shooting with her, as that negative guy, I could do anything and everything with her.
Right, right.
But still, I kept my boundaries.
Of
and
course.
that's what you can see. So there's not much that I've done also, by the way, which is why I'm feeling a little afraid. Kitna log kya hate kar rahe hain yaar. There's not much that I've done, and yeah, because spoilers ahead, she's also somewhat giving it away, no?
Exactly.
Because of whatever.
Yeah.
I won't disclose, but in a way, he's also getting fooled. He's a
Yeah,
naive guy.
yeah, he's
That,
also a
oh,
naive
तुम
guy.
मिल आई हो? अच्छा, oh, you
He
still love
doesn't
me.
know why is she
यार
doing
आप
what is she
बताओ,
doing.
4 years later you meet your ex-girlfriend, and would you ever imagine that she's going through something like that?
Of course not, absolutely.
So, yeah.
And suddenly she's coming on to you, you even think it even more. And considering the guy you are,
मोहित सर मुझे यही कहते
Yeah.
थे, लिटरली तो बस यही सोच कि यार 4
कि
साल
वो
बाद,
अचानक से तेरे को भाव दे रही है.
हाँ.
After all these years,
and now
despite-
you've gained so much. You're like Forbes 30 under 30.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
gained so much in your life. So masculine mentality.
Correct,
Go for
exactly,
it.
correct.
So go for
Super.
it. Yeah.
Perfect. And because now we've talked upon it. What is everyone? And Mohit sir is one of the loveliest people I've
Oh,
talked
yeah,
to,
yeah.
I interviewed him just last week before the film was obviously, and he's also very honest. He doesn't
Yeah.
care too much in a way that I shouldn't be saying this, shouldn't be saying that.
उनका
He
कोई
was
filter नहीं है.
Yeah, and there's no filter.
Yeah.
I want to understand that, because him I asked, 20 years ago when he debuted as a director, he would have been such a different person, right? That time you are also like him, I'm talking about. He's debuting with a debutant, Imran back then.
Imran.
Here, he's obviously 20 years old in terms of he's a veteran. He's making sure that you
Yeah.
guys feel comfortable. You guys are bringing the best.
Yeah.
How does that vibe match? Because it's very easy to say कि हंसते खेलते रहते हैं या मजाक में काम हो जाता है. But what is it that as a director he brings to the table for you guys to that everything just flows so well?
Yeah, the beauty about him is that he's so chilled out, which you also mentioned. So उनके साथ first day पे meeting पे डर लगा था, but ever since then, after I understood that he's so chilled out, that I didn't feel any inhibitions in front of him, and I could say whatever, I could talk, I could do whatever. So that really let me loose and feel like myself on set. So that was nice, because if your director is somewhat intimidating, or if you have some sort of inhibitions and you carry them with you on set, then it becomes a little difficult for an actor to open up.
True.
But with him, since the very first day I could open up, I told him also, sir, आपकी skin बड़ी अच्छी है. And for a second, he was like I could do those weird things. कि कहीं ये अजीब तो नहीं है, like I'm out and out straight. But फिर भी उनको देख के लगा, didn't you feel that, by the way?
Yeah.
Even at that age.
He's a good-looking man.
Good-looking man. मतलब मैंने ये भी नहीं बोला, just said आपकी skin बहुत अच्छी है. And if you see, मेरे 1-2 scenes में skin के breakout हो रहे थे उस time पे. I was like, सर क्या कर रहे हो कि मेरे हो रहा है, आपके नहीं हो रहा, मेरी age देखो, आपकी देखो. Sorry, I'm again digressing.
No,
but
of course.
he was just very chilled out, and that just showed I could do whatever on set as that negative guy, and everybody wants that.
Yeah.
But again, he just didn't want me to take that route also. Another thing from the set, which is I can just recall, that my very first day, that very office scene, my introduction scene.
Right.
I thought मैं तो full on Shahrukh negative सब कर दूंगा, अपना डाल दूंगा, ये वो डॉन की तरह आऊंगा, डॉन की तरह जाऊंगा. I gave my very first take, and he came shouting, "Nahi." I'm like, no, do it how you did it in your audition, romantic, normal, poised, calm, cool, chill, and that's what I did. So yeah, I mean, जब रोकना होता तो रोकते थे, जब जो बोलना होता तब करते थे, but he gave me the liberty to do whatever I could do, and that's such a beautiful thing.
It is, because these directors understand that less is more. You know, sometimes we all think कि चलो
Hmm.
ऐसे करेंगे तो ही होगा, but I think they understand it better than
Yeah.
all of us in combined.
Oh yeah, so much of experience.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
He's a veteran, man.
He's a veteran, and with this is his forte. Like as
Yeah.
you mentioned, this is forte.
Yeah.
Musicals, love stories. is
He's
just
one of
his
those
thing.
very few directors जिनके नाम से पिक्चरें चलती हैं यार.
Agreed.
And he's got his own template. Like everybody, when they were watching Sayyara's promotional assets, like the trailer,
Yeah.
teaser songs, they were like Ashiki 2. They're like, nahi, Murder 3.
Yeah.
They're like, nahi, Malang. Nahi, they were like, Wo Lamhe. They were like Zehar. So many films that they could think of. It's literally like Martin Scorsese in the making.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
whenever
yeah.
you see any of his
With
films,
his genre,
they're like,
yes.
Arey, Goodfellas. Arey, nahi, Wolf of Wall Street. So they can instantly relate with so many things from their past works. You
Yeah,
know? And
absolutely.
that's a trait of a brilliant director.
Definitely, I completely agree. And you know now, moving on to this, Shan, because as you mentioned, you and Ahan
Yeah.
go way back.
Yeah.
You know, you all have done. He's also like, and you know, one of the best things which worked for YRF in this favor, I would say. Otherwise, it would have been a complete backfire. Also, is the fact that they did not expose Ahan and Aneet to the media or to the public in any way possible till the release is happening. In the current scenario where you know everywhere, it's not just about the nepo kids and everyone people keep talking about. In
Yeah.
general, when you have debutants, they try to go all out. They
Yeah.
try to go all out in making sure they are there at every event, at
Yeah.
every media screening, this, that.
But that is the problem also, no?
That is
I
the
was ready with
problem.
my
Yeah,
answer.
exactly.
It has a very simple answer.
हाँ,
That shouldn't be done. मैं तो खुद ये बोलता हूँ कब से. I mean, again, YRF could do that.
Yeah.
There are two sides to it. A production house like YRF, a film like Sayyara could do it. Maybe others can't. But when you have that sort of leverage, when you can do that, why not? Because if they are already everywhere doing these things, people will be like, then why do we have to watch the film?
exactly.
Now they can, because now people have appreciated their work. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what I also feel, that it always has to be after the film has come out, for the leads especially.
Perfect.
Not for everybody, but for the leads.
For the leads.
Who are carrying the film on their shoulders. If they've already seen them, like I don't want to mention films, but we know this year.
Yeah,
some
we
other,
know what we're talking
this year
about.
some other films also came in where they were just like all over the place. So I, as an audience, my psyche was that okay, now I've seen them every day
Way too
possible,
much.
in my bathroom, in my hall. Why do I have to go to the? Why do I have to buy a ticket and go to the hall to
Yeah.
see them? So another great learning lesson for me also in the future. If I ever get a film as a lead in the near future, I would want to take that call.
Absolutely.
Picture बनाए नहीं बनाए, but I don't want me to be seen anywhere before the release. So not that it worked here, so it will work there.
No, of course.
It's something that I also believe in. So yeah, and then go all out after the release.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then
Like,
tell all your
Let the
experiences.
work do the talking first.
Then tell all your experiences during the shoot. Then tell everything that happened before the release. But before that, the mysticism,
The mysticity
mystery
is-
should be
yeah.
there regarding the film,
That's fair.
so
Yeah.
that they only see you as the characters in the film and not as your real entities.
Lovely, super. And you know, and one more point in this context that I want to touch upon is that I loved it, that how you know the film subtly touches upon them. Two things was, one was in the start, in the beginning, right itself. You see Ahan's introduction scene, right? He's barged into the office and he's
Yeah.
just blasting this guy off. And why is he doing that? Because that's such a meta moment as well. Ahan is anyways, it's not technically a nepo baby, but he is
Yeah.
he has a lineage, and he's blasting the same thing
Yeah.
off in his character. What I was getting at is there he also mouths lines like कि तुम बस उन चीजों के लिए करते हो जिसकी social media following ज्यादा होती है, which is all we know. It's the
Yeah.
harsh truth
Yeah.
these days, right?
True.
An actor like you
Yeah.
who's also perhaps struggling with that, maybe faced it, maybe not faced it. In such a scenario, how do you do you feel too sad or too disheartened when it happens to you, or when you just see it happening otherwise?
I feel confused. How I started off my conversation with you also initially, and I'll be very honest. Sad, happy, pata nahi. I'm just genuinely feeling very confused. That at this age and stage of my life, what should I actually do?
Yeah.
So it's becoming very confusing, I feel, for actors. Whether it's at whatever level they are, whether it's somebody who's completely fresh, whether it's somebody who's like an OTT star, whether it's somebody who's a TV star, whether it's somebody who's just been launched like Ahan, whether it's somebody me who's done some work and then gotten this big break. I mean, for everybody, it's just very confusing, no? To reach your goal, what path or what route you should take.
Exactly.
I mean, so just to answer that, following की तरफ जाएं कि पीआर करें, कि यार लॉन्च का वेट करें, कि छोटा छोटा काम करें, like literally अभी 6 प्लान मैंने बता दिए हैं.
Right.
So imagine so many things actors have to deal with on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm dealing with, yeah. So I just have to maybe figure it out, or maybe talk to people like you and some other producers, directors, and take advice, because I genuinely believe in that. If people like you, if people wish well for you, they
Yeah.
will give you an honest advice. There are a lot of nice people in this industry.
No,
also.
that's true. That's
I have
true.
met them, Shanu ma'am, Kavish sir, Mohit Suri sir, who do believe in outsiders, who do believe in generous people, helping people.
Mhm.
So मैं तो यही करने वाला हूँ. मुझे नहीं पता मैं क्या आगे करूँगा, but I'm going to meet a lot of people, ask them for advice, and hopefully they'll give me the best advice possible.
Lovely.
Yeah.
But and again, this is something I ask to actors who are either starting out or just been there for a while. Doesn't the practicality of life take over sometimes? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you will need to pay your bills. You
Yeah.
need to run a
कब तक
life.
delusional रहोगे?
कब तक delusional रहोगे यार? And I think acting is a job like that. You can keep working and working and working, and it might never click for you.
Yeah.
You just have to persevere. We've seen enough examples where actors 20 साल तक काम कर रहे हैं और फिर 40 पे कुछ मिलता है या 45 पे कुछ मिलता है. The age is
We
even
know
not even a
examples
factor.
like that. Yeah.
We know obviously examples like that.
Mm.
But as an actor, I'm saying because that time was very different.
Yeah.
15-20 years ago, that was perhaps possible to do. कि कम होता था, इतना सारा exposure नहीं होता था. For an actor like you, does the practicality of life take over a little too much at times?
Yeah, sometimes it does. Like I said, I'm feeling very confused right now. So I think the origin of that is also that the practical nature of life is sort of kicking in.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just so much in love with this craft. I'm just so much in love with making people happy
Mhm.
that I would want to give another how many years it takes, just to achieve my goals,
Right.
see those dreams come true. Not just mine, my family's, like my parents. So, and again, I just don't know what I really want also. I'm happy being in the OTT also as the lead. I'm happy doing such nice meaty parts in the films also. It's just that I believe in my aspirations and my potential of being the lead in films, and I know someday it will happen.
Right.
So actually, yeah, just to answer, it's the delusional sort of self-belief that I have,
Yeah.
and it's taken me some time, but see where I've come. I'm doing this
I
big
agree.
part in a Vaira film. Who would have thought? If you told me 5 years
Absolutely.
back, I wouldn't have believed it.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
it is that self-belief.
Self-belief.
Yeah.
And trust me, all the actors I talk to, they say the same thing. Actors
Yeah.
have to be delusional.
जिनका नहीं होता वो छोड़ देते हैं.
हाँ,
You have your
exactly.
answer there.
Yeah.
Those who don't have it, they leave. Those who
Yeah.
have it, they stay. And those who stay, eventually, I think God will sort
In
of
one
give
way or
them.
another, at least.
Again, like I said, we have examples.
Yeah,
चाहे 40 पे हुआ, 50 पे हुआ, but हुआ.
हुआ,
And
definitely.
those are some people who love the craft.
Yeah.
Who've been here to really entertain people and
Uh-huh.
to just feel happy, to have a nice peaceful sort of sleep in the night. So yeah, I believe that will happen to me also someday.
And one final question before we,
Okay.
do a quick segment before after that.
Huh.
You sort of already touched upon it off camera. Is that the scare or the worry of having some sort of stereotype being attached? कि या जब कोई चीज अच्छी चलती है, we've seen it over the years, right?
Yeah.
Every actor, या तो आप अगर रोमांटिक हीरो बन जाते हो तो फिर या तो रोमांटिक स्क्रिप्ट साथ ही रखते हैं. आप अगर सिर्फ नेगेटिव करते हो तो नेगेटिव में फेमस हो जाते हो, तो you keep getting those negative scripts, blah blah blah, consistently.
Yeah.
In that scenario, again, it's sort of like a continuation of the last question itself. Let's say कि 2 साल चले गए. Okay, let's take 2 साल चले गए, ठीक ठाक काम चल रहा है. But you are still, getting some really lovely negative parts.
Branded as a negative guy.
Yeah, branded as a negative, but you're getting good parts also in good banners and good money. On the other hand, you are still struggling with the thought that I don't want to keep doing it, and you have to pay the bills. How will you coincide to these two things? Because I think that's the toughest. वो बोलते हैं ना, टेस्ट एक एक्टर का कि भाई पैसे मिल भी रहे, काम भी मिल रहा है बड़ी चीजों में, बस वो
पर
नहीं
क्या
करना
वो
है.
पाथ लेना है?
क्या वो पाथ लेना है?
Or I should wait.
Or I should wait. Exactly, that's what I was getting at.
But wait for what?
Just wait and hope and keep
For a lead
doing.
part.
Yeah. और more so कि चलो ऐसी चीजें उससे बेटर ये कर लेता हूँ कि जहाँ पे मुझे creative satisfaction, so to speak, ज्यादा मिल रही है.
यार, okay, so I want to answer this in a way which is very like I've not shared this with anybody. So more than choosing characters, more than choosing what the path would be, you mentioned it and मुझे से वही click करा कि I would want to give that answer. Anything that brings me a lot of money at this point. so that if it brings me a lot of money, then later I can produce my own films also,
Yeah.
and then I can help a lot of people around me also, and then I can give myself whatever character I want.
Correct.
So yeah, manifesting it and saying it out loud. Characters गए भाड़ में, pictures गई भाड़ में, OTT गया भाड़ में, anything that brings me a lot of money while I stay attached to it,
Of course.
so that later maybe I can be in a position to produce my movies, whether I keep myself in those pictures or no, but the eventual goal is to be a producer. So if anything that helps me with that, because हाँ बड़ा recent ये लगा मेरे को कि यार I would want to make films यार, मतलब as an actor there's not much power that you have in your hand. So just a very recent phenomenon. I was like, I'm digressing into this. That I would want to make movies here. That's my real love. Of,
Lovely.
Showcasing and portraying whatever stories I have in my head, whatever I hear from a lot of inspiring writers and directors that I meet on a daily basis. You know, मेरी age के थोड़े से बड़े थोड़े से
Correct.
कम.
Correct.
There's so much talent in this country. यार.
There is, of course.
There's so much. अगर मुझे लगता है कि मैं कल को 1% टैलेंट की भी मदद कर पाऊँ, बहुत मतलब कोई महान बनने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहा, फिलोसफिकल नहीं, बट आजकल एक नया थॉट आया बस कि यार अपने लेवल पे हम अगर आपस के लोगों की मदद कर पाए तो why not?
Of course.
So just bring me a lot of money so that I can do that later. Help myself, help others.
Yeah. No, fair. And I want to task you this also once again. Because at the end of the day, when it's your day one on a set of a YRF film, I think it might be daunting, or it might be, there are those obvious things, right? Ki you are nervous, you're wondering.
I told Ahan.
Yeah, na?
I told Ahan.
I was just going to get to that.
मुझे कहता Ahan, तूने इतना काम किया, तू nervous हो रहा है? मैं बोला हाँ यार, मैं हो रहा हूँ nervous.
Yeah.
And he was some 15-20 days down the
schedule already.
Schedule.
Yeah.
And it was my first day. I told him, भाई मेरे को थोड़ा लग रहा है nervous हो रहा है.
But how was it? Like, because you mentioned you obviously seem to already have a good bond with Ahan.
Yeah.
And Ahan is currently an enigma for everyone. He's, still not out there.
Yeah.
How is that? How is he? I'm sure he's a very sweet guy, I'm sure.
Yeah, very nice.
But what does he, what is the kind of bond that the both of you share?
It's a very simple, nice, friendly bond. And like I was mentioning it in some other interview also, he's always very supportive, encouraging, helping me out. I'm also helping him out. I helped him out in those action scenes.
Yeah.
And he's always telling me that, okay, buddy, you also have it in you. Never lose your sight of the bigger picture. Yeah. And just those things. Yeah. If you see our messages also, I'm inspiring him. He's inspiring me. I'm encouraging him. He's encouraging me. So very that sort of like we are not very good friends or friends like मतलब chill करते हैं, party करते हैं. But there's this very I don't know, intense, beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it since those days, and he believed in me, I believed in him, so that will never leave. That will never go. So yeah, just that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Helping each other out.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is most important. As you mentioned, जरूरी नहीं है कि आप ऐसे दोस्तों की जो hang out करते हैं. Just that kindness.
वो भी करते हैं, वो भी किया बहुत बार.
Of course.
But just being very honest कि क्योंकि लोगों को लगा इतनी intense, इतनी beautiful friendship है तो मतलब बहुत मिलते होंगे, बहुत chill करते होंगे, नहीं इतना कुछ भी नहीं है. But yeah, once in a while.
But I don't think it matters also.
It doesn't.
Even you might not meet him for 6 months and you still pick up from where you left off.
Tanvi the Great की एक line है ना, मुझे बड़ी अच्छी लगी. Relationships time का मोहताज नहीं होता.
Right.
So I believe in that.
Yeah.
I meet my parents once or twice in like 3-4 months, but I still love them the most.
Awesome.
So meeting somebody doesn't define how much you love them.
I agree, of course, and that's the basis of everything.